I'd like to take one more moment to do a shameless plug for our sponsors for this event. When anybody who is a member organization that sponsored this event, please stand up. I'd like for you guys to see how many people in this room participated in making sure this event happened, given the content we're getting to see, the discussions we're getting to see. I mean, there are so many organizations that have done this, so thank you very much. I'd also like to take a moment and just recognize our newest chamber member out of Bozeman, a cybersecurity firm called Proximia, joined this week as well, and we'd like to thank them. Moving on, in addition to sharing a 180-mile border with Alberta, Montana has developed strong economic relationships with our neighbors to the north. From shared infrastructure to trade and to investment in energy, opportunities continue to emerge. Please welcome our friend and neighbor, Nathan Neudorf, the Minister of Affordability and Utilities with the Government of Alberta.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Tony. I really appreciate being here. Thank you to the Chamber and all the representatives, Todd and Matt and everyone else. It truly is an honor to be here representing the Government of Alberta and Alberta as a trade partner for Montana. I did request, just as a quick aside, I did request that I get to walk into Taylor Swift, You Belong With Me. I thought that would have just really strengthened that relationship a little bit, got the energy flowing early this morning, but you can't pick those songs apparently. Maybe the governor gets to pick, but as a visitor, we'll see. I wanted to show the strong and collaborative history that exists between Alberta and Montana in so many different ways. But before I begin my formal remarks, I don't know if any of you just had a chance to look at the weather outside. I'm glad to see that you guys get the same crazy weather that we get in Alberta. I had a wonderful 4-hour drive down yesterday from my home in Lethbridge to get here. Great roads, great scenery, very pleasant. A little concerned about going back later today, although it does look like it's clearing up. Very glad I drove my F-150 with 4-wheel drive to make sure that we get there safely. And the speaker just earlier this morning talking to his kids and to all of us about you living in paradise, not to cause an international dispute, but I wonder if any of you have been to Banff or Lake Louise. We'd love to invite you up there. Of course, we share a lot of the similar land and climate regions within the continent. We get the benefit of the Rocky Mountains, and we get the benefit of the prairies and the river systems that flow between our great nations and our state and province. We really do enjoy so much of the same kind of thinking and the same kind of economy. We do have a lot that we share, and it is a privilege to be here to strengthen that relationship. So, as the Minister of Affordability and Utilities, I get a lot of questions. What does affordability mean? It is the topic du jour that is on everybody's lips. We have felt for a long time in the province of Alberta that affordability, although a lot of it is out of our subnational control, as it's driven by inflation and big government spending out of the nation's capital, it is related a lot to utilities. Many of our constituents, our businesses, one of their top costs is utilities. Sometimes second to mortgage or rent, sometimes it's first. And making sure that we're doing everything we can to keep that affordable is a primary focus of our government, hence it's in our title for a ministry. So we focus a lot on similar objectives that you and the government here in Montana focus on: energy, agriculture, natural resources, tourism. We just heard a great panel talking about tourism, manufacturing, and the list goes on and on. And the focus within my ministry is really on energy reliability, affordability, and sustainability. And I believe that we share a lot of these values with you here in the state of Montana. Many of the members in this room have a direct or indirect relationship to the energy industry, and we are very proud to work with them and continue to work with them to strengthen the reliability aspects. The last few years, and I heard it from speakers yesterday, in electricity and energy, the focus has really come back to reliability and the fact that When you hit that light switch, when you turn on whatever your business thrives on, you expect near or 100% reliability. We become very accustomed to that working all the time. It's not something that that we talked about while we in Alberta had coal generation. I know that you still have it here, but a previous administration in Alberta removed coal, so as of 2024 we no longer had coal generation. And one of the first things that we realized after that is that reliability is something that we should talk about. The sun doesn't always shine for solar resources, the wind doesn't always blow for wind resources, and when that happens and it's minus 30 degrees Celsius, which is very cold, you can actually have life-threatening situations. So we've learned that reliability can't just be assumed, it needs to be planned for. And in Alberta, we have a very unique electricity system. Unlike any other province or territory in the country of Canada, we have a private and open market, which allows for competition to drive prices down and provide for the needs. There are some benefits, there are some pros and cons, but we are now trying to make sure that we set the investment signals in the right way to get the right type of investment, to make sure that we balance the needs of affordability and the needs of reliability with those of sustainability and the future growth. It's one of the reasons that we are looking at and doing an engagement with the public all across Alberta right now for nuclear energy. Again, the topic that was raised yesterday, I heard some talking about it. We are very interested in that potential future because it does bring in alignment a lot of those aspects of sustainability and reliability. You can call on it and it is there when you need it. Over the last few years, we have been facing a tremendous amount of change and rate of change. Our Alberta Electric Systems Operator, or our ISO, in 2021 did a long-term outlook and said that it would take roughly 20 years for us to have 1,000 megawatts of renewables within our grid. And just for some context, our daily average load is about 10,500 megawatts. Our peak loads in summer and winter are about 12,500 megawatts. And so 1,000 megawatts of roughly 10% of that load over 20 years, yeah, we can probably manage that. We eclipsed that 1,000 megawatts in year one of a 20-year plan. Think about that. And in the subsequent 4 years, so 21 to today, we have added a further 7,000 megawatts of renewables within the province of Alberta. So a total over 8,000 megawatts. And we've turned off 5,500 megawatts of coal in that same time frame. We had reliability issues, and our market has changed rapidly. Emerging technologies, growing population, another brief factoid that you may or may not care about. For a period of time between 2023 and 2025, Alberta's population was the fastest growing on the planet. No other jurisdiction in the world was growing as quickly as Alberta. 2 years in a row, we added over 200,000 people to our province each year. Put a lot of pressure on a lot of systems, and we are still facing some of those challenges. And to add on top of that, of course, something that we all face is the rising demand for electricity. So as we continue to grapple with these new technologies, these new efficiencies, these new possibilities, and the new challenges that we face, we'll add on to that the tremendous interest in data centers and their demand for electricity as well. I shared with you sort of the size of our current grid. Right now, our ISO has requests for connection to our grid of 21 gigawatts of data centers, which would mean a tripling in size of our grid in 5 years. That would represent somewhere between $100 and $200 billion of additional investment. Not quite achievable or practical, although something that we're considering, and obviously we want to share in as much of that as practically reasonable to do. It's one of the reasons why this is my second trip to Montana and to Montana's capital within the last few months, to make sure that we continue to have conversation, discourse, show collaborations, and see where we can continue to strengthen our trade relationship with one of the best, if not the best state in the United States. We share approximately $5.8 billion US dollars of trade with Montana each year. 5.8 billion. If I think I got your state budget correct, about $16.6 billion that was passed, that's roughly a third of your trade, or the size of your budget. I'm sure your trade is much larger than that. And Alberta continues to have a very, very strong relationship with the US in general. Many people are surprised when I tell them that more than 56% of the oil resources imported by the nation of the United States comes from Alberta alone. That is more than twice as much than the US imports from Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq combined, from one province. We are very proud that we can do this trade relationship with the United States, and very tuned in to making sure that we strengthen that relationship for decades to come. Alberta is proud to have the 4th largest proven oil reserves in the world. On top of that, we have 130 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. So we have great economic ties with the great nation of the United States. And as I said before, our total generating capacity currently in Alberta is about 23,000 megawatts and continuing to grow. And it supports all kinds of future growth for other trade. We want to make sure that we have great continued relationships, and throughout the day yesterday and today I've had the chance to have many conversations with other businesses and members in the room about how they interact and trade and work in relationship with Alberta. One of our fine, proud businesses from Alberta and Red Deer, I'm just trying to look to see if they're in the room. I'm sure they have been in the room. They manufacture and build rifles. They are now setting up shop here in Montana. We're very happy to share them with you and to see them continue to grow. I was worried about that earlier dispute about where Paradise resides in terms of tourism, but I know there's probably too many rifles in the parking lot, so I won't I won't follow that any further. But one of the other things I'd like to point out is one of the gifts that I'm able to give as minister when I visit dignitaries is belt buckles, something that we're proud of out of the tradition of the Calgary Stampede. And we have the Alberta brand on a great silver belt buckle, which is ironically manufactured right here in the state of Montana. So when I gave one to the governor last time I was down, he really appreciated that I was giving his product back to him, even with the Alberta brand. But it's one of those things that speaks to the ties between our two sub-nation jurisdictions and the trade that we enjoy going forward. Now, I did hope to be able to answer a question or two, so I will begin to wrap up my remarks and say just a couple of things that I think are critical to the conversation. Yesterday, I heard that Montana Chamber sat roughly 85 days this past year and had 1,900 plus pieces of legislation, of which 950 roughly passed. Alberta, in the same calendar year of 2025, we would have sat over 90 days in our chambers, and we would have brought forward 38 pieces of legislation. Similar systems, but very different. Some of the private members in this room that do trade are like, why can't you move a little more quickly? I wish I could go back in history and change how things are done. That's more easily said than done, but it does take us a lot longer and a lot more work to get similar amounts of legislation to pass. There's pros and cons to both systems, but it is one of the things that sets us apart. We just cannot move. The system doesn't allow us to move in the same way. Private members are not able to bring legislation forward at the same frequency as they are in legislatures in the United States. As minister, I'm very privileged to be able to have a place on behalf of the government to bring that legislation forward on a more regular basis, but even then I have to fight my colleagues in cabinet to make sure that I get that to the floor. And I've been able over the last 2.5 years to bring 3 pieces of legislation to the table and have them passed to make sure that our system continues to develop, is keeping pace with the times and making sure that we do send those right market signals to continue to grow. So in closing, I just want to affirm Alberta's commitment to the trade relationship that we have with Montana, that we view you as a reliable and trusted partner for trade and many things, including freedom, democracy, infrastructure, energy, and so much more. We want to make sure that we increase reliability, increase affordability, and make sure that we find common solutions to the challenges that face us for the future, because we believe that when Montana succeeds, Alberta succeeds. And when our two jurisdictions succeed, our nations can succeed. So thank you very much for the partnership. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you again to the Chamber for allowing me to come and speak. I think, Todd, if we have time, I'm happy if there are one or two questions. I want to make sure we stay on time, but I see a hand up in the back of the room. I think Matt's coming with a microphone.
Good morning, Minister, and welcome to I'm Brett Downey from Great Falls. We have partnering with Southwest Alberta, South Grow. We have an MOU with Economic Development Lethbridge. We're very envious of the growth in Lethbridge and energy and food processing and education and other things. We need to buy more gas from you. So look forward to working with you. There's a transmission capacity issue on your side of the border. We worked with Alberta very well on the Montana-Alberta tie line, and yes. Berkshire Hathaway Energy Montana has been taking advantage of that now, which is fantastic. But we have a shortage of natural gas, so look forward to working with you on that.
Fantastic, really appreciate it. We love to continue. These are two of the top issues that my ministry is looking at. The intertie with Montana, is alluding to it a little bit, not to put too fine a point on it. It does take us a bit of time to work those things through legislatively and regulatory wise. It is a top priority. We continue to work on it. We've done many steps to get that in the right direction. I was sharing a little bit about the market conditions so that you realize that it's not about trade, it's about reliability and how drastically we've seen the market change in the last few years and trying to keep pace with that. And similarly with natural gas, believe me, if there is a province in Canada that would like to build more pipelines of every nature, it is Alberta. We would love to get more natural gas exported, to get a better price for it. To be honest, there are many times in the last decade where Alberta actually sells natural gas for less than zero. So it means we're paying you to take our natural gas out of our hands. We'd really like to reverse that trend and find valuable markets. I'm sure there's utilizers of that here in Montana would like to see the same. We'd like to utilize that more effectively. And of course, oil. If we can see the Keystone resurrected, we think the economic output and benefit for Montana and many other states and the federal government of the United States, not least of which, would see a huge benefit from that. So that's what we're here for. We do want to continue to work on those conversations, work through the challenges that face us, and find collaborative win-win solutions whenever possible. We're good? We're good with questions? Well, thank you again. The honor to be here. Have a great rest of your day and really appreciate the time. Thank you.